Wrestling Inc. podcast. Oh, Hell in a Cell. What a year. Hell in a Cell, a match that I thought anything goes. It's hell. It's a cell. But apparently you can be disqualified. We're going to talk about that and lots more. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Raj Giri and the Blueprint, Matt Morgan, to talk about Hell in a Cell 2019. Matt, what did you think of tonight's pay-per-view?
We're talking before we went on the air just a little bit. We tried to save it for the show, obviously, but obviously couldn't get out what the hell happened at the end of the pay-per-view. We'll get into that as we go through the show, I'm sure. But the pay-per-view started off really good, I thought, with a very good match. Not fan of the outcome. They continue to beat Sasha. Stupid. But I didn't like the pay-per-view. I didn't. It could have changed. It could have changed had Bray gone over. But
yeah, right?
I did not like it.
Raj?
I thought this was the worst pay-per-view in a long time. Yeah, definitely of the year. I'm trying to think of the last one that was worse. I mean, it started off hot. Sasha and Becky's, they stole the show. They had an awesome match. And then it was just shit after that. I mean, progressively worse. Like, Randy Orton and Ali, they had a good match. And then that was about it. Then it was the third hour of Raw. This whole pay-per-view was the third hour of Raw. You get to the main event. And then that shitty ending, the fans were chanting refund at the end. They were chanting AEW. When do you have that happen at a WWE pay-per-view, right?
When's the last time that happened at a WWE pay-per-view? It's been a while.
I can't remember. They booked themselves into a corner, and instead it was the fans that had to pay for it. And they gave a shitty ending. Last year's Hell in the Cell, I don't know if you guys remember, they did the same thing. It was Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. They had it end in no contest when Brock Lesnar came in. So they're just killing this Hell in a Cell gimmick. Like, the whole point of Hell in a Cell is to, be this explosive end.
And they'll be all to it. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So this sucked. This was a terrible pay-per-view. And after a week of their pay-per-view, their competition killing their show, NXT, and it was a strong 7 days of wrestling between Fox and Raw season premiere and everything. And then to end it with this, it just sucked.
Mm-hmm. It had promise, too, that the final match, Bray Wyatt's music is, and that's not like a mark, but his music is awesome. His entrance is awesome. Everything about him is awesome.
Yeah.
And how they do everything with him.
Yeah.
And then that happens.
They could have saved the pay-per-view, I think, if he would have walked out of there with the title.
Yeah.
Or something big. Something huge.
I think the only thing tonight the fans would have accepted for him not winning would have been interference from The Undertaker.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Stone Cold, maybe. Yeah, it would have to be something on that level, yes. Because what they delivered was not it. Clearly.
Mm-hmm. What about Seth Rollins basically who's committing manslaughter ring? I mean,
he's like taking a chainsaw.
I started laughing.
Oh my gosh, it was so stupid. It got so stupid after a while. It's one thing when you're just beating the shit out of someone with a chair. You're used to that in wrestling, but when he's using a toolbox and a sledgehammer, it just got effing dumb.
He smashed his face, his cheekbone, all of that would be smashed into pieces. I mean, I get we have to suspend our disbelief. I do it to the best of my ability, but come on.
Right.
And his, but really quick, his body language, his no selling, it might sound easy, but the way he does it, Bray, is different than the way the other monsters would no sell.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, like his body language, his mechanics, his moveset even is different. If you notice, he's doing a lot of different things that I don't recall him doing too much. There's a lot of his normal playing his hits that he normally does, but his offense is awesome. Everything about him is just red hot, and they're going to mess it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the commenter said it earlier. Not only is Vince insulting the audience's intelligence, he's insulting his own. Because he's been putting the Fiend over as the hottest thing in the company. And tonight, the way they did this, my issue with the match, and we'll talk about it in greater detail later, is that this wasn't really about the Fiend even getting his licks in on Seth Rollins. He got a couple blows in on him, but for the most part, this was just about what does Seth have to do to destroy this guy. And it was just Bray no-selling the taking of abuse.
And some of it was cool, right? I got goosebumps a couple times when he first stood up, right? The kicking out on one and things like that. That was cool as hell. I was like, this is awesome, and they had me.
Yeah.
They lost me real quick.
They went from awesome to stupid in, in 2 seconds. I mean, it was like record time.
Good point. Really quick, Roman and Bryan was a good match, I thought too. By the way, not fantastic, but
yeah, that actually was a good match.
Yeah. So that being said, Raj, let's run through the card. Do you have it up for tonight? What we saw starting with the pre-show?
Yeah. So at the pre-show, we had Natalya versus Lacey Evans. This is like the 8th time they've wrestled in the last the last month. This time it was Natalya getting the win. So not exactly 50-50, I guess. It's probably like 60-40 in Natalya's favor, but it's just a nothing feud, and they're going to wrestle again tomorrow on Raw.
Last woman standing.
Last woman standing match. So yeah, that was the pre-show match. I don't know, Lacey Evans. I just feel like you built her up. Why bury her? Not bury her, but why beat her so much right now?
Yeah, she should be a center. In my opinion, a center attraction type of booked talent. No, she's special. She's different. She's over as hell with her character. She gets it. She makes me invest emotionally in what she's doing. She does everything you're supposed to do.
She has to win tomorrow night. She has to beat Natalya in the last woman standing match.
Yeah.
And then move on to something else.
Yeah.
I see how it is there, Raj.
And I'm trying to see how I can remove this comment because they're flowing so fast. I can't find the original one to. There we go.
Oh, man. So we opened with Becky versus Sasha, the female Hell in a Cell match tonight. And Matt, I want to get your take on this. Sasha Banks did not get that much needed win. We all agreed that she really, really, really needed tonight.
Yes.
To have some credibility.
She came back edgy as hell. Different look, different vibe. A heel. We always wanted her to see her being back in her natural, habitat, if you will, which is she's Miss Thang, Queen Bee, right?
Yeah.
And that's what she gave us, and with a little bit more edge to her. And they just continue to beat her or put her in scenarios in which she's not winning. Like you do that with some talents. I get why, but not with ones. Again, not comparing her to Bray Wyatt, but somebody that comes in that's hot. You gotta keep fanning those flames. And I don't know what I'm missing. Why they wouldn't do that here?
Exactly. She is the first woman since Becky Lynch to have some real steam behind her, and to just every week, Becky's been getting the better of her. Sasha's the one, with her tail between her legs running off. Mm-hmm. So this would have been the time to get, to have her get her big win, and instead you just make her look more like a loser, and that's ultimately what fans start seeing them as. Yep. You can kill a push real quick, you could kill specialness real quick, and they're doing that with Sasha, and she has something that not many of the other women right now have, and to just piss it away is what they're doing.
Do you think
Jack in my blueprint moniker? That's what she's got.
Well, let's talk about that in a second. But do you think Becky is too hot right now? And Becky, they almost need to keep her protected.
Same with Seth. These pairs should never have touched one another. Seth not versus Bray should never have happened, and these two should never have happened this early.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't want to beat Becky, that's fine. Then don't put her with Sasha.
Yeah,
put her with someone else.
Yep, they book themselves in these corners.
Yeah. So speaking of which, tonight, 3 times commentary just flat out referred to Sasha as the Blueprint, Sasha Banks tonight. So by the time this podcast is out, I'm sure a T-shirt will be up on WWE Shop.
I'll expect my royalty.
Seriously. I tweeted a joke, Matt, about that just to keep it going. That was a bad move tonight. Lots of people not knowing this podcast that we've been talking about this. Like, it's no shade on Sasha. I mean, it's kind of funny.
No, we love Sasha we are the biggest Sasha fans on the internet, pretty much. We're always talking about how she needs to be protected. She's a star, but don't steal the blueprint.
Well, or say something, right? I mean, at least with the Becky Lynch thing with the man, that was direct reference. They acknowledged they referenced Ric Flair at first and Charlotte and her dad, and it all made sense.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know. But this match tonight was great, I thought, with the exception of, it was weird, with the exception of Becky winning. I thought this match was fantastic.
It was his match of the night, easily.
Easy match of the night. They busted their asses. Nothing, there's a lot of women's matches where there's missed spots or a little sloppiness, and this was not one of them. Everything looked crisp, everything looked clean, everything made sense. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Where do you think they go from here in the women's division? We'll talk about Charlotte and SmackDown in the women's championship, but what do you do now with Becky is still the Raw Women's Champion, and she opened SmackDown on Fox, the highest rated segment of the night with The Rock? I can't help but think that Fox wants to move her over to the blue brand in this draft, but she's got the title belt. Does she lose it tomorrow in a rematch? Does she lose it on the Monday draft on Raw in a rematch?
I think they did.
Good question.
I think she does lose it. I think she has to go to SmackDown because they put that TV time on her. I'm sure they want her. They put her with The Rock. You know, that's not an insignificant segment. So she's got to be going to SmackDown. So yeah, maybe tomorrow night they do the rematch and Sasha gets the win there, and they protected Becky by having her win tonight, so that way they could justify it. But I can't see them. I can't see Becky staying on Raw. I mean, SmackDown is now the A show. I think that's, we'll get to the SmackDown ratings later, but that's the priority.
Yeah. What was the second match on the main card tonight?
So after that, we went to Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan versus Eric Rowan, and Luke Harper. I thought for sure that Daniel Bryan was going to turn on Roman Reigns here because he has had the weakest babyface turn for a top guy ever. But it turned out it wasn't the case. They had a really good match, actually. I mean, these guys busted their ass. The end saw Harper hit a dragon suplex on Bryan. Bryan countered. Reigns hit a Superman punch on Harper. Bryan hit a running knee, and Reigns followed up with a spear for the pin. And Bryan and Roman got the win after the match. Roman reached out his hand. Bryan was going to shake it, moved away, and then asked for a hug. Crowd went crazy, and then Roman was about to walk away, then came back in, they hugged. Crowd went nuts. It was a very cool spot. A scary spot was Bryan afterwards was leaving the ring, and while he was leaving, he kind of collapsed and then, picked himself up and kept walking. The camera quickly cut away. So hopefully he was just selling. I hope that's all it is. We know Bryan's history and everything. And it wasn't, he had already hugged Roman and seemed fine. So it did seem very awkward that he would do that if he was selling.
No, I agree. This was a very good match. But it was weird that they got... So today, I'm sure everybody was paying attention, they added half the pay-per-view to the card this afternoon.
More than half. Yeah. Yeah, I was saying they should name this pay-per-view WWE Afterthought. Yeah. Right? It's like WWE, oh shit, there's a pay-per-view today. That's what they should call it. But yeah, it's something else, man. Let's take a break. Thank the sponsor of this episode, Blue Chew. Guys, are a lot of your matches ending in a disqualification lately? Is it perhaps a no contest situation where you're unable to compete, as it were? Are you finding you once had a nickname and now somebody else has it and they're just looking like, who's this guy? I don't even know who I am anymore. Good news. If your sex life is no longer heaven or hell, if your boner's in purgatory, Blue Chew can help. BlueChew.com, that's blue like the color blue, blue like the blueprint. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and since they are chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever that moment arises. You've heard us talk about it. You've heard Raj give way too much detail. You've heard Matt smirk because he knows what he's working with. He knows, he's not Shorty G, as it were, in the bedroom. And you see that look of confidence. Blue Chew can give you that. You've heard me talk about it in, let's face it, any amount of detail is uncomfortable, so I'm just going to spare you that. But let's just say with Blue Chew in the bedroom, I'm no longer Mr. Rubenstein. I'm Glenn, the good time guy. Blue Chew solves all your problems, makes it all work, and not just for any guy who flat out can't perform. It's for any guy who wants that extra function to enhance their performance in the bedroom. If you talk that good game, Blue Chew is your secret weapon for round 2, 3, 4, and more, and it'll give you a hell of a round 1 to boot. Blue Chew is prescribed online, shipped straight to your door in a discreet package, so no in-person's doctor's visit, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness. They are made in the USA, and they prepare and ship direct, so they're cheaper than a pharmacy. And if you think about it,
this is going to be the most patriotic thing you've ever done for your sex life, is buying some Blue Chew. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit bluechew.com. Get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code WINC. You're only going to pay $5 shipping. That's BLUE chew.com, promo code WINC to try it free. Blue Chew, the better, cheaper, faster choice. And we thank them for sponsoring the Wrestling Inc. podcast. And we thank them for improving the sex lives of all of our listeners throughout the last year. It's absolutely fantastic. Cannot endorse it enough. BlueChew.com, promo code WINC to try it free.
The comment section with the Blue Chew ad is phenomenal today. Good job, guys.
I think Blue Chew.
Seriously, I feel like I need a Blue Chew after tonight. But
can you imagine? Think about all the guys who are trying to get down with their lady, or women trying to get down with their men tonight, and they're like, honey, what's wrong? What's not happening? It's like, I'm just so distraught about Bray not getting the title at Hell in a Cell. The booking of WWE is ruining my sex life. Blue
the
Chew.
only reason I won't do it is because I remember how uncomfortable you were when you took that Blue Chew that one time we did the podcast, and you just looked like you were going to explode.
Well, some might say I was more comfortable, more in my element.
Glenn's keyboard kept going like this.
Yeah, I think it was really the audience that was the most uncomfortable, Raj. Yeah, it's just good stuff.
Really quick, read this comment from Tim Howard. Seth will get more booze tomorrow when Roman did the night after he beat Undertaker. You guys think that?
Yeah, I think Seth's a marked man right now.
Yeah, I think this did not do Seth any favors. And
Seth wasn't that great as champion, as a babyface. I mean, we've talked about this. I don't think this is his most memorable run.
They don't help him at all in this regard. They put him with Becky. They've done other silly stuff with him. He was white hot at one point, if you remember, with everyone yelling, burn it down, and when that started. And
last year after the Gauntlet match, he was on fire.
He was.
And they have just made him lame as shit.
Yep.
Yeah. So they got to do something. What was the third match on the card tonight?
So after that, we went to Randy Orton versus Ali. This was another one that was made earlier today. Really good match. I mean, Orton is Orton. He can, and with someone like Ali, he can have just a spectacular match. And I thought they had a really fun match. It went fast. It was fast paced. Ali looked great, but ended up with Randy Orton catching him with an RKO out of nowhere for the pin. So Orton with the win, but Ali looked really good.
He pushed. I was going to say real quick, Glenn. I could tell he pushed him. You could tell. I always tell when when Randy is working or versus just dialing it in or phoning it in. Generally,
yeah.
And when he phones it in, it's hard to even tell sometimes because he is so damn talented. But he was going tonight. You could tell he was excited to work him.
Well, this looked like a match where Orton wasn't looking to raise his stock, but really help Ali out.
Yeah,
even though Ali was losing, it looked like he was really trying to help him out.
Ali should have won. Ali should have won after that counter. They made a big deal about that counter.
I agree.
The RKO.
Yeah.
I think that would have ignited this and made it a feud that people really paid attention to by showing this isn't just the legend going over the newer guy.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, but this could, again, you'd like to hope so, but it probably isn't. But this could be the start of the feud, and then it ends up with Ali eventually beating Orton, which if that is the storyline, that would make sense for Orton to win at the beginning.
Yeah.
But as we've seen with WWE, a lot of times you can't put that much faith in it. But if that is the case, then this result made sense.
Not to make like a cheap plug here for AEW or anything, but like no. I was gonna say like wins do matter to us fans.
Yeah.
They legitimately do. I don't know why people, even as a wrestler, I'm thinking that, and I was made to think as a wrestler. By a creative team, like it doesn't matter if you're gonna get your heat back as soon as the match is over and you come back in and glom so and so from behind after they pinned you. No one's even gonna remember it. And I remember thinking like, what the hell are we doing this for if no one's gonna remember?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
What's the point of a match if the win or loss doesn't matter? Then you're just watching a performance. It's not.
And that was their way to placate towards it. It's just babyface me and shut me up from probably crying about losing or something. You know what I mean? Who knows? But the point is like it's worthless, and it can't be that way. We have to give a crap, and we do as fans.
Could you imagine if a football season, if the games, it didn't matter who won or lost, no one would get.
I wouldn't watch. I wouldn't watch.
No one cares. Yeah, there has to be a reason.
Yeah.
And WWE knows this. This is why Lesnar never loses, right? I mean, they know it deep inside. It's probably, they tell their other talent that they don't consider special that wins and losses don't matter, but they know that it does.
Yep, he's right.
Do they have that backstage? Is there a guy whose job it is to go to someone like Ali after tonight and just be like,
with TNA, it was Russo. Vince used to say that to me and others many times. Vince also used to try to convince us there's no such thing as a push. I'm like, what? Shut up. Of course there is. I can't. I go. Listen, Vince. I can't come in here, take a pen, and put it to paper and say Matt Morgan pins Hulk Hogan with foot on chest. I can't say that. I can't write that. Right. You can. I can't. When you write that, that's a push, my friend.
I'm just picturing someone backstage going up to Ali, patting him on the head, going, "Buck up, little camper. You'll get him next time. Wins and losses don't matter. The fans are just happy to see you wrestle. You got that time on the pay-per-view. Your career's going great."
To a degree, a little bit of that. Maybe not patting on the head and but hey, you had a great showing. You got over tonight, which is true, by the way. I will say this much: you can lose a match, and both talents in that ring can get over.
Sure,
but there's a time when you got to either crap or get off the pot with certain talents that got to start winning matches for people to move forward with caring about them and pay off that emotional investment in them.
Yeah.
You don't watch a Rocky movie not caring who wins or loses, right?
Could you imagine?
That's the whole point. And wrestling is a Rocky movie. You got your baby faces, you got your heels, you got your people that you get behind, and the larger than life characters and the storyline. And that's ultimately, it's an athletic play.
Hold on. The first Rocky movie did end in a tie.
No, it didn't. Creed won.
Oh, he won the decision in the tie. So it's even worse.
Yeah, but then he comes back and wins.
No, it's not. There was a win and loss. A loss took place. We emotionally invested even more.
That's right. It went to the judges, and the judges.
WWE would have him lose again the next movie.
Right. Exactly. You get knocked out in the second round in the next movie.
Rocky. I'm just thinking about the Rocky franchise now.
All right.
Which is better? I would have rather have watched Rocky 5 than Hell in a Cell tonight. That's how bad aspects that ending of that pay-per-view was tonight.
I thought Rocky 5 was all right.
Wait, with Tommy Gunn? Really?
Yes, I did.
I was a Tommy Morrison fan.
Yeah, and with the evil manager turning him against him. That was such a classic pro wrestling storyline.
It was, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, there we go.
All right, so up next we had the women's tag team title match, again, announced today. Half these matches were announced today, as Glenn brought up earlier. Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. This wasn't bad. The finish saw Asuka spitting green mist in Cross's face and kicking her to cover her for the pin and to win the titles. I don't know if this was a heel turn.
I don't care. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. This actually, you got a real women's team now with the tag titles. Kairi Sane, I tweeted this earlier. I think she's a superstar if given a real opportunity. Asuka with the green mist. I remember watching The Great Muta as a kid and just being like astounded whenever he'd do that. I'd be like, how the hell does he do that? Yeah. And so Matt, how do they do that?
There's they have a balloon. Tajiris have balloons.
So where do they hide it? Like just in the trunks?
In their pants. And then they put it in their mouth during the match. So, yeah. And then once the match starts, it's in their mouth at that point when they want to go and do that part of the match. Because I was the same like you as a kid. I used to sit there and watch his matches forever. And back on VHS tapes, I would rewind it and go, where did he do it? How did he get it in his mouth? Right. I just assumed the dude wrestled the entire match with crap in his mouth. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. He opened his mouth here. There was nothing in there then. Right. I could never figure it out. Yeah. But yeah, little Tajiri used to put them in balloons and then put these balloons in his pants. And then throughout the match, he put it in his mouth at the time he'd blow his mist, spit the mist out or whatever.
And then just put the balloon back in his pants, or?
I don't remember that part. Huh. It's not like this big balloon. It's like imagine what a limp balloon looks like this tiny, with just a little bit of the food.
Without the blue chew
in there. Yeah. It's so tiny. Huh. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, this tonight I thought was pretty good. If the story had led up to this tonight, this would have been an awesome payoff if we'd really gotten something between Kairi and Asuka against Alexa and Nikki, not just have it sort of be spur of the moment.
I mean, I'm in favor of them winning these titles, though. Like Raj said, legit teams now got them. They'll give these two girls some spotlight, which they definitely deserve. So underutilized.
Our Twitter poll on whether Hell in a Cell was a thumbs up or thumbs down. Right now, it's 4 people voting a thumbs up, 386 with a thumbs down. So pretty unanimous.
Well, I think the WWE universe is pot committed to a Bray Wyatt title run, and they were denied tonight.
Sasha versus Becky should have went on last. At least you would have left a good taste in people's mouths, as far as at least a good match.
I mean, the setup was perfect too. Like the cage was cool. I thought the cell itself was dope looking. The lights were awesome. Everything about it was great. Yeah. On the cell itself. Just not that fun.
Who are these 4 people that voted yes? All right, let's see. Vince, Shane, Triple H, Stephanie.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so up next, another makeshift match. And so why even put this match together if you're going to give a crap finish? But it's the OC versus the Viking Raiders and their mystery partner, Braun Strowman. The finish saw Anderson Gallows take out Braun after he had hit AJ, and the referee called for the bell after they took turns on him. So DQ finish, Braun Strowman and the Viking Raiders, which why have a DQ finish with Braun Strowman? He could pin Anderson and you're fine. He's moving on to Tyson Fury. Yeah. Why a DQ? Yes. It makes no sense.
Yes, you're right. I think you just said exactly correct. He needs to have a strong win. There's nothing wrong with him beating every single person on this roster, quite frankly, let alone, one of the guys from the OC.
I don't like when the mystery partner or the surprise guest is somebody on the roster. Whenever
I just wrestled the other night.
Yeah. When you build it that way, you think like, oh, who is it going to be? Who's going to come out of retirement? Who's
this outsider? Yeah.
Yeah. But that's just kind of boring. It's like, hey, tomorrow night, Raj, we got a mystery guest on the podcast. And then we show up and it's Matt.
I don't know if you remember this, Glenn, but Matt, do you remember that time in the 90s when someone had to pull out of a pay-per-view and they were hyping this big mystery partner at the end, and it turned out to be Savio Vega, who was already on the roster. It was like the biggest fart in church when he came out, and they're building it up the whole pay-per-view. Like, they're going to have a mystery partner.
How bad was it, Raj? Because I don't remember. I remember watching as a fan, but I don't remember looking online at the time as a fan. How was it when Vince was the one revealed as the?
Oh my God!
Did everyone shit on it online?
Yeah. It was like what's the modern day equivalent? It's like when Triple H, when they had the whole with CM Punk and Kevin Nash, and who texted Kevin Nash.
Oh God, yeah.
And then Triple H was like, "You texted yourself." It was similar to that. The Vince thing was bad, but you didn't have social media back then, so we got a ton of emails. So it wasn't like the instant, spreading online. So
you're right.
We had a little chat room, but yeah.
Huh. What is this guy saying? One of the listeners wrote, also, the entrance stages suck. They should have had an actual skull instead. Are you saying like an actual human being skull for Bray Wyatt's lantern?
Actually, having them come out of a giant skull tonight would have been pretty cool, I think.
That would have been cool.
Oh, like the entrance itself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They had a Survivor Series, the Deadly Games, where they had that. Yeah.
Yes.
And Vince could have dressed up as Satan and painted his face red and come out. They could have gone full hell theme tonight.
Oh man, we'll get to the main event. But good God. All right, so after that we had Chad Gable, Shorty Gable, not Shorty G.
Tomorrow it will be shortened to Shorty G.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what they got it trademarked. Versus Baron Corbin, another match announced today. It wasn't bad. The crowd did not give a shit though about this match at all.
Of course they don't.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because Bassmaster G, I think, is a pretty talented wrestler. And it was nice to see him get a win.
Listen, I'm a fan of Crunkmaster G and all as well. But the problem with it is, you see what we're doing there? A little shout out to Kelly Bundy, but always butcher their name. But he's good. He's really good. He's super talented, obviously. He's a friggin' legit All-American amateur wrestler, right? He's a legit badass. This is corny, though, what they're doing with him.
Well, and Corbin with the STD chance tonight, man, The Rock can get anything instantly institutionalized over.
I think this will last another week or two. Remember when he tried to get people chanting popcorn fart at Coach, and it lasted 2 weeks? And
they don't always land, but I'm just saying this one,
Yeah. I feel like Chad Gable lost a lot of his charisma when he cut his hair. He just looks like a
Like
just
Samson.
looks.
There's
Yeah,
something off. It doesn't look right. I don't know what it is. And he's wrestling good matches. Don't get me wrong. He is. It doesn't look like a star as much. And he did have more charisma. It felt like back when he was in NXT and that tag team with Jason Jordan.
Yeah.
Between the two, dude, he was the damn color. He was definitely like the color, if you will, of that team.
Mhm.
He was all over the place. I thought with charisma.
Yeah, he was the charismatic one. Jason Jordan was the size guy.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
But Gable picked up the win here. When Corbin grabbed his scepter, he was going to hit Gable with it. Gable ducked. The referee grabbed it. Gable rolled Corbin up and got the pin. And they announced him as the winner as Shorty Gable.
Okay, so now do we see what happened here? Here, this kid finally gets a win. Okay, and a huge win. I can go on for 20 minutes on why Baron Corbin should not be losing right now. He's just won King of the Ring. You're trying to take him more seriously. He's doing well. You don't throw a loss at him right now. I get upsets can happen. It shouldn't matter, but it should matter right after winning King of the Ring. He just won it.
Yeah.
But back to Shorty G. He wins this huge match, and that's how you finish it off by calling him. It's literally lighting something on fire and pissing on that fire to put it out.
Yeah.
That's literally what that is. It's an embarrassment. I don't get why they're doing it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
they can't possibly think there's money in it, Raj. They can't possibly think, oh, this is a great idea. This is going to really get him over. This feels like a ribbon or a joke or something mean and stupid. They don't have in my opinion, with AEW and the other companies coming up, Raj, they don't have that luxury anymore to play ribs on guys.
But
I know. I feel like this is one of those cases where the King of the Ring is going to hurt Corbin as opposed to help him. I think it's going to bring him more to the mid card as opposed to elevating him up to more to main event. I mean, he was close to the main event earlier this summer. I mean, they were putting him in the main event, but fans didn't invite him there. But he was getting there, and now he's improved greatly, and now he's falling farther down.
He's ready though. He is so ready for the main event right now.
Yeah. But how's that going to look though on Raw going forward? What the main event scene is going to be after tonight? You know what I mean?
I mean, it's still going to be the Fiend, right? I mean, clearly that's not done. So
yeah. Yep.
All right.
What was after that?
So after that, we went to the SmackDown Women's Title match: Charlotte Flair versus Bayley. So the other half of the Four Horsewomen. This was there. I don't know. I just felt like it never got warmed up. Like it was just in a bad spot of the show. And the ending saw Bayley arguing with the referee, and Charlotte hit her with a big boot. Charlotte hit the figure 4, bridged into the figure 8, and Bayley tapped out. So Charlotte Flair winning the SmackDown Women's Championship 10 times, women's champion.
Wow.
Because she's going to top her dad in a few weeks.
You guys, but fans on Twitter said it was way premature to say that. When I said Charlotte will go down in history as the greatest female of all time. Dude, she easily will.
So if Bayley doesn't snap tomorrow on Raw or Friday on SmackDown, I think she's not. I'm not going to ever say she's done, but she just lost the plot. She's going to be back where she was a year ago.
I hope not.
Her heel turn, that was the worst heel turn this year. Remember, Glenn, you were comparing Bayley eventually turning heel to Hulk Hogan when he turned heel.
Well, it should have been. No, we all have had that. That's not a unique or original perspective. We've talked about it. If done correctly, it would have been.
It should have been big. And this is where we're at.
Glenn wanted it that exact way, that black and white, if you will, going from red and yellow the next night to black and white, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let's give him a chance here. Let's get that. They're obviously going for a slow burn here, and how she turns is what I'm guessing. Try to give them the benefit of the doubt with this because it's so obvious she has to be heel. And we need to see those heel tendencies. We need to hear the heel promos. We need to get there. So I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, and then this happens. I don't get it.
And
I do not get it.
Exactly. Instead of doing that, they put her in. Go ahead.
That girl is a baby face. Again, is where the money is in her, and a good heel run would have made her even bigger time as a babyface and go back to what I first said she could have been in this company, which is the female John Cena as far as selling merch goes.
Yeah.
And instead, she's in purgatory where no one gives a shit. You know,
Pick a
by
side.
doing a half-assed heel turn, the people that want to cheer her don't, and the people that want to boo her don't. And
No more half measures. Either take her full baby face or full heel. Not this crap we've been seeing.
yeah. So apparently, the other night we were talking about DJ Marshmallow. Apparently, he's a huge deal.
I did see that on Twitter.
Yeah. And last night we were watching, we were listening to Pandora, and like at least 4 songs came on. It was DJ Marshmallow. It's like, it's one of those things where you never hear someone until you hear them, and then you realize they've been all over the place. So
He's a DJ? He's an
so
actual
he's
DJ?
yeah. So he's like Khaled, DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled?
Yeah. He's not. I don't think he's quite as big as him, but he's the next big thing. So this is a big deal. So anyway, apologies to DJ Marshmallow.
Not for me.
I don't know. Jury's still out. On
Not
time
for
will
me.
tell.
Hashtag jobber.
Time will tell whether history remembers Parker Lewis more than DJ Marshmallow in the grand annals of time.
All right.
We can't do it, yes.
But we had a 24/7 title change. Carmella backstage gets rolled up by Tamina Snuka, and Tamina runs off. So Tamina's back.
Good.
The Usos are also back. They were at SmackDown backstage. Yeah, so there you go. Tamina Snuka is back.
Are they using her last name again now?
No, Tamina.
Okay, I was going to say. That would be newsworthy.
Yeah. All right, so a lot to unpackage here. So next, Hell in a Cell for the WWE Universal title, Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins. And now this whole match was done with the red light that they used to use for Kane early on.
I loved it.
You like it?
I loved it.
I felt like it gets hard to watch after a while. I would think, especially live, I would think it just gets hard. Like Kane, they had it for like a month or two, and then they got rid of it. I'm sure they will with Bray Wyatt. I remember with Sin Cara, they were doing that for a while too. Yeah. But it looked cool at the beginning, It looked like a horror movie. Bray Wyatt just kind of destroying Seth Rollins early on. Seth getting a comeback. Bray kept coming back. At the end, it just got freaking stupid.
It went way too far.
Rollins hit like 30 curb stomps. You keep getting 1 counts. The fans would start booing, thinking that Seth was going to win. So they'd start booing. Yeah. But then when Bray Wyatt would kick out at 1, they start cheering again. Mm-hmm. Then he covered Bray's face with the chair, and then got a toolbox out and was like hitting it with hammers. And
there was a mallet.
A mallet. Yeah. Then he got a sledgehammer. It just got so stupid.
Put a ladder across his face with a chair in there as well, and took the tool. What do you call it? The tool. Come on. What is
Toolbox.
It? Toolbox, and swung generally a 40-pound. Obviously, it's a gimmick one, but we're supposed to believe a 40-pound toolbox into this ladder and chair that smashes his face, and nothing happens.
How about that chair shot to the head? Well, I know how they did it, but I mean that looked brutal as hell.
They were trying so hard, and it just reeked of it. Like they were trying too hard to make it a horror movie, as opposed to the Fiend being this a threat. They went from being the Undertaker to being Freddy Krueger, and you know what I mean? Yeah, to Jason and Freddy Krueger, whatever, and it just got ridiculous.
Ridiculous. The no selling on his part was, like I was saying earlier, it was really well done with the kendo stick and some of the other spots in there. The kick out on 1 originally, the kick out of all the curb stomps, all very plausible. It makes sense. He's a monster. That works. But it got. Again, I'd go back to, I was telling this earlier, Undertaker, when he first started, and he was doing the whole sit-up gimmick at first, and he was no-selling people stuff. They at least did the next thing you have to do after that. Put the guy over. He had to win. Can you imagine if this happened to Undertaker early on in his career where they started doing this crap? It would never have happened. And that's the difference between today and yesterday, is they're so darn worried about getting these guys that need wins. I don't understand the logic in it. We're not the only one to think this. Obviously, we heard the fans.
Maybe he's going to SmackDown. Maybe Fox wants him, and that's why they didn't put the Raw title on.
And So then you don't put him in this match. You get him out of it. He commits homicide somewhere. He does something crazy. He burns down a church somewhere. Or he does something insane. He's a monster. He's satanic. He's this bad human being. Whatever.
At least they weren't projecting images of worms on the ring this time.
Wait, what is this guy saying? He's saying we said that Bray needed to lose a title.
What?
No, we never said that. He doesn't have the title.
What are you talking about? No, we said Bray doesn't need the title.
And he shouldn't have been in the title match to begin with.
Yes.
But now that he's in, he should have won.
Sure as hell shouldn't be walking out without it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because that's literally painting yourself in a corner. Where tonight they did the only thing they could do because he couldn't lose. So they had to have a screwy finish to get themselves out of this conundrum.
Yeah. So anyway, the match continued. He hit, the sledgehammer and all this stuff. It got just finally. He what was it that caused it was the sledgehammer that caused the DQ.
Using it like Rollins, a sledgehammer, not Triple H style to the stomach.
Right.
Yeah, so he brought the sledgehammer in, and then the referee called for the DQ. I believe that is the first ever DQ in a Hell in a Cell match ever. Last year was a no contest between Braun and Roman. This year, a DQ, and the crowd just shit all over it. I mean, they were...
Read really quick. Read that comment as part of your report, Raj.
Which
WWE
one?
Turned.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
WWE turned Bray Wyatt into a normal guy when they called for the bell and brought the medics out. The medics completely turned him into some normal guy.
So that happened after the match. They brought the medical team out like you would for anybody. Are you kidding me? Again, I go back to Undertaker when he was a rookie. Would they do that with him? No, he wouldn't be in that predicament to begin with.
Wasn't there more than... I'm sorry, Matt. Wasn't there more than 1 year in Hell in a Cell where they literally, like, the promos, everything, people were saying the only rule is there are no rules?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's been the whole point. I mean, that's the point of a Hell in a Cell. It's supposed to be the ultimate gimmick, right? Like the ultimate finality of a feud.
Exclamation mark on the end of a feud, the period at the end of a sentence. There's no way out of it. That's what it's supposed to be.
Right. So they brought the medics in and all this, and then eventually the Fiend recovered, put the mandible claw on Seth Rollins. But by this time, the crowd was done. They did not care. They were chanting restart the match, which didn't happen. Then they were chanting refund. They were chanting AEW. I mean, they were chanting bullshit. I mean, they just shit the bed on this.
And this was Sacramento. If this had been Philadelphia, trash might have entered the ring, and people may have lit it on fire first.
I agree. I agree with that, Mitch or Orobsky, Mitch or Mike. Yeah, he's saying one of our readers said he couldn't see how they couldn't possibly have known that this was going to be a terrible finish. Yes, I don't know how they figured these things out either. Yeah. Are they that far removed where they don't care? Are we at a point where they're there?
I mean, maybe they thought because Bray was going to kill him afterwards that the fans would have gotten back, but they didn't. I mean, they had Bray put the mandible claw on Seth afterwards, and Seth had these blood capsules in his mouth, so he's like spitting up blood, and the fans did not give a shit. They were just like, they were done. I mean, this was
got ripped off. They feel,
yeah.
I mean, you wait the whole night for that match. The Fiend, it's the immovable force. What is it? The irresistible force versus the immovable object.
Yeah. Gorilla Monsoon.
As far as two people that don't lose, right? Yeah. So which one's it going to be? Well, it sure as hell can't be Bray Wyatt, obviously, everyone's thinking. And you wait all night to see this. And then that's the turnout. I don't blame the fans.
And look at the advanced press they did for this. I'm sure you saw the clips of Bray Wyatt all over Bay Area television. Clearly, they believe in this guy, and they're setting this guy up. He's over in a big, big way. I'm shocked. The only thing I could think of is that Fox has this earmarked, and not a long in the works decision, but Fox in recent weeks has decided they want him on SmackDown, which is why they couldn't pull the trigger tonight.
I mean, I don't know. You saw that picture of the Fox executives ringside, right? Yeah.
Oh, looking confused during Firefly Funhouse?
Yeah, just like, what the hell is this? This isn't the sports-oriented, content we were talking about. But regardless, whatever. It was a big miss, but it happens. This was the worst WWE pay-per-view. This was the worst wrestling pay-per-view I've seen in at least a year, but
Wow.
It happens. I'm sure, Crown Jewel, they're loading that up. Survivor Series, there's nothing in sight for what they're going to do at Survivor Series, but they're loading up Crown Jewel.
They have some really cool opportunities coming up, though. Cain Velasquez, Brock, we got Braun Strowman, and what's his name? Tyson
Fury.
We've got, obviously, Bray Wyatt. We got other Daniel Bryan storyline. Hopefully it turns eventually. We have some cool prospects out there, at least. Hopefully it comes to fruition.
And Seth versus Bray again. They can't beat Bray. It's too soon. You can't beat him this year. So either Bray wins the title or you move on. And I guess with the draft, they could do that. They could have The Fiend move to SmackDown and never beat Seth, and Seth stays on Raw, and then that way you get out of that, which I could kind of see happening.
Let's look at it this way. If you want, I got to be the glass half full guy here for a second. At least they didn't beat him.
Yeah.
Because I would have put my own hand through my TV screen, I think.
But it's what we talked about with Sasha, what happened to Clash of Champions. Like a DQ finish, I mean, a non-win is for a non-win for a title might as well be a loss.
It's a momentum killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She should have gone over tonight. I know you can't beat Becky, but what do you do?
Yeah.
You don't book them together. That's what you do.
So, like we said earlier, the fans were pissed. They were chanting refund, AEW at the end, and that's how they left. So, in a week when your competition beats you, bad.
On Wednesdays. It beat your developmental brand on Wednesday.
By 57%. And their demo, in the Prime demo, they beat SmackDown last week. They beat Raw most weeks, what they do in that demo, in the 18 to 49. It's probably not the right week to start doing a pay-per-view or you piss off all the fans.
No. And losing their trust. No.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, we do have... This is one of our largest live audiences we've had for a non-Big Four pay-per-view in a while. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. They're fired up. They're pissed. They want us to vent on their behalf, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I do when I watch sports shows after these things are over. You know what I mean? I want to see if LeBron just lit him up for 75 points. I want to go see everybody put LeBron over now in those talk shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And vice versa with this and something negative happening, because you know how this is. These people, and I say that's their trust because it is their trust. When people voice their opinions, they get pissed and they chant what they chant. They're not doing it to be smarks. They're not doing it to be cute. They're doing it because they're freaking pissed. They paid their hard-earned money to be entertained. They emotionally invested in somebody and something like you told them to do. They went along with it. You gotta pay them back at the end. You can't do this crap, especially with competition now breathing down your neck. Not breathing down your neck, but out there on different channels now.
Well,
you can't do this anymore.
Let's not forget, a good contingent of the fan base is still pretty pissed about the Kofi thing on Friday, him getting squashed in a heartbeat by Brock.
Mm-hmm. For good reason too. We were told to believe in him and invest in him. We all eventually did.
Yeah, if I didn't do this podcast, I probably would have stopped watching every single episode a long while ago.
I would say, I'm sure I'd come back and trickle back in somewhere.
Well, if this was a movie, the storyline with Kofi would be that he comes back and eventually beats Brock. But we know that's not happening, right? That's not happening. Kofi fades away, and he's going to become back to where he was, upper mid card, and they buried him. I mean, they hurt him.
Here's where it gets tough for me to understand the logic they're using at times, because they did jump on the train listening to the fans when Kofi got hot, right? Mm-hmm. They did. It took them a little while to do it with Daniel Bryan. They did it kicking and screaming. They did not want to do it for Daniel Bryan, but they had no choice because listening to the fans, I'm saying.
Right.
Why? How do they not hear this? How do they not know that this was going to be the reaction? Their job is to read audiences everywhere they go. That's their only job, really.
Yeah.
Now it's where they get to a point where they don't have to think they have to answer to them anymore. And now with another company out there, they're more than ever going to have to start answering to them.
Yeah.
I think between Fox, between Saudi Arabia, I'm telling you, it's hubris. It's hubris in that Vince feels like he's untouchable right now. And what does he care what the fans are saying? He's making bank, and and by the way, he's going to take it all with him. He's going to be the first person to get buried with his fortune.
Well, to be fair, I did think that Brock winning was the right move. But he shouldn't have won like that. Like it should have been at least give Kofi something, because you've just negated all this stuff you did for the past year. Not all of it, but like 70% of it is just done.
And real quick, Glenn, also, by the way, Brock has been dying to be a chicken shit heel forever since I can remember first worked with him.
Yeah.
Swear to God. And what would be so bad if he cheated? He doesn't need to cheat. That's the heat.
Right.
He doesn't need to cheat. Just like he didn't need me and Nathan Jones as heaters. He's a monster himself. That's the heat. Therein lies it. He could have cheated in that match at Kofi and done something stupid, and then just cheated to win. It wouldn't have hurt Brock whatsoever. It would have gotten more heat than anything else, because why'd you have to cheat to do that? That's ridiculous. That's like stabbing somebody after you shot them. That's ridiculous.
Or what they could have done, which would have been awesome, is you have Brock killing him at the beginning, like with Daniel Bryan. Then Kofi gets a comeback, starts looking like he's going to win. Big E turns on him, power slams Kofi, goes to the back. Brock, F5, boom, the end.
I would kill for that, because I want him to be a heel so bad. Exactly. He would be so good.
It would have been a huge swerve. The Fox audience, you got millions, 3.5 million plus watching.
Big star now, and big stage for him too.
Exactly.
I don't know. Great. Yeah, I just think he didn't need to have a match as good as Daniel Bryan, but he should have at least had a match as good as the one Finn Balor had against Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't. That's WWE, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Marcus Fox wrote "Invade Stanford."
Could you imagine? I see that as being like the Invade Area 51 thing. People like, hey, everybody, we're going to go to Stanford and tell Vince and everyone how we really feel. And 5 people show up holding signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kofi got squashed. So TS Midi 3000 rating. Kofi got squashed, but Brock was acting like a wuss towards the UFC guy most people never heard of. Cain Velasquez is a big star.
He is. Do you think our audience knows him? Do you think all those little kids?
He got a big reaction coming out. So enough people knew that. Yeah.
I watched it back again. I agree with you guys, though. He should have had a much bigger to do with his entrance coming out. And he looked very unimpressive looking.
Yeah. I mean, Tyson Fury doesn't have a great body either. But, by wearing the shirt, and he looked more like a star. Yeah. All right. So that was that. Worst pay-per-view, I think, of the year by far. Except, I don't know, Breaking Point. I can't even remember what that was, but that might have been. I think this was worse.
Yeah.
So anywho, so from here we go to Crown Jewel. So Cain Velasquez we saw on SmackDown the other night.
Can I just quash this really quick, because this is annoying me, this comment. This is what WWE wanted. Seth even acknowledged the boos while looking down at Bray. They're trending number 1 on Football Sunday. Getting reaction, good or bad, is all they're looking for. P.S. I've worked in the business, so yes, I understand how that works. And wanting a reaction is all they care about, right? I promise you, the closeout of the show, Fading to Black, was not AEW.
Refund an AEW chance. That's not what they're looking for.
No, they're not going for that. They're not going for that look, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah, not Breaking Point. What was the one called? Turning
Stomping
Point
Grounds?
or Stomping Grounds? Yes, Stomping Grounds.
Points DNA.
Stomping Grounds. All right. So Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar is going to happen at Crown Jewel. So,
wow.
And then apparently Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman is going to happen at Crown Jewel too. I feel like that's too much of the crossover. Doing the 2 same kind of crossover matches and one show. Seems like overkill.
They got to please the KSA, the people that are writing them these big checks. And I think the last one they did was, with Goldberg versus Undertaker. They're running out of these big matches to justify the tens of millions of dollars they're getting.
How much did they get again for this?
What was it, Raj? It's like more than Mania.
Yeah, it's like 40 million a show is kind of what it comes out to.
Oh my goodness.
So seriously, like if KSA, if they say, hey, we want Marshmallow versus the New Day in a 3-on-1 handicap match, they're going to make it happen.
Apparently, Marshmallow is going to cost a lot because he's a big deal.
Marshmallow, huge, much bigger than Deadmau5, who I thought was the most famous DJ that wore a mask.
It was a Buckethead. You remember Buckethead, Guns N' Roses?
Oh, yeah.
The new
Buckethead.
Guns N' Roses? All right. Anyway, so Cain Velasquez, Brock Lesnar. obviously, so what do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to do a Goldberg kind of thing where Kane beats him quick and that leads to a rematch? Or is this just Brock just beating Kane and then they move on?
Oh, it depends. Do we know how long Kane is there for? How many appearances?
So Kane has pulled himself out of the USADA drug testing pool. So that means basically he's counting on his MMA career being done. So he sees this as his future. But he's had like no training, right? Like he's done a little bit in AAA, very planned spots. But as you know, Matt, as we've seen with Ronda, it takes a while to get good at it. Yeah. Ronda was a prodigy. She excelled quick, but it took her a while before she was having good matches on her own.
So are they signing him to like a real deal? Like a 3-year deal, Cain Velasquez?
He's got to be. I mean, he's definitely signed on for. So Kane is saying that he's not signed on, but there's no way that's possible because AEW has said that they're interested in Kane. There's no way they're going to risk Kane doing this angle with Brock Lesnar on Fox in front of 4 million people, and then it shows up on AEW on Wednesday. So they've got him signed to something. So at least for this one event.
Yeah. Really quick, though, let me ask you a question. With Brock not being in WWE, Kane to me is not worth anything.
Right.
He's the Brock stopper, essentially. So he's Brock's kryptonite, so to speak. So that's his worth for me as a fan watching. I'm a huge UFC mark, I am, but I don't have any value for him whatsoever as a wrestler unless it's beating Brock's ass and giving him his comeuppance. But so my question is, how long is Brock there for? That could give us a good timetable on what they would sign Kane for.
I think Brock is pretty much there until
a year, 2 years,
until he decides to retire. So Brock's he's not going back to MMA now. So
shouldn't.
He's WWE for life.
In WWE right now, they're getting the money these guys are getting now is insane to me. I can't believe how much it's great. I'm happy for every one of them. It's awesome.
I mean that's why CM Punk is putting his nose back in.
Hey Matt, when you get robocalls from a 203 area code, do you like perk up for a second? You're like, it's Stanford, it's calling me.
So no, I always no-sold that. I never cared because I'm from there. That was my old area code where I'm from in Fairfield, Connecticut. Yeah, but everyone else used to say that. Like other wrestlers, they used to get nervous that the axe was coming.
Yeah, right. Like, oh shit. That's like JTG when he was like, why did I answer my damn phone? All right, so there we go. Cain Velasquez, Brock Lesnar, Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman at Crown Jewel. SmackDown ratings. So SmackDown,
Monster, right?
A big number is kind of what I predicted. I had said originally I was predicting 4.5 to 5 million with all the legends, with Undertaker, all those guys, and then after the show that aired, I was like, okay, 3.5 to 4 million, and they did 3.9 million. So. Yeah, I mean, it's a good number. Obviously, that's going to fall greatly.
That's not considered like a huge success or a huge number, Raj?
Well, so Raw 25 a year and a half ago on USA, without all the football promotion, did 4.5 million. And so it did way more than this show only a year and a half ago. But they had Undertaker and all the stars, and that's kind of what I thought they were going to do on this show, and it's kind of good that they didn't. But
when I went in to do the Fox 35 gimmick this past Friday, the ads all had like Demon Finn Balor, for instance, was in his demon costume. It had Charlotte Flair, it had Becky, it had Kofi in some of them. It had AJ, a little small AJ doing his forearm, flying behind everybody's face in one of them. But like the ads did not have Taker, Sting, or any of the legends. So I wonder if it was like that across all the other Fox channels as well. If it wasn't an actual commercial, what did the print ad look like?
So online they were advertising Undertaker, Steve Austin. I mean, Steve Austin they were advertising till like the day of.
His face?
Yeah. Yeah, so Undertaker was asked why he wasn't there, and he even responded on social media. He wrote, "I was told I wasn't needed." Which, can you imagine telling Undertaker that?
No.
Right, yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was advertised the day of, never appeared. He posted a photo on Instagram where it made it look like he was home, like he wasn't even at the show.
Well, to be fair, we always keep saying we want them to continue to move forward with the newer stars, right? So I see both sides of this. One, you use the legends to pop a rating, but then you hope they see some of the younger stars and latch onto that. But I'm kind of proud of them. I got to be honest, in a little bit of a way that they did go with their own horses for this.
Sure. But then either don't advertise them, or if you do it in a dark segment for the crowd. So the crowd, a lot of people bought tickets for.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
They're expecting Taker and Austin. True. And they don't get them. And when the lights went out and came back on, they were like, "What the hell?" And some fans were chanting AEW at the end. That were pissed, which is because that's the new CM Punk chant. But yeah, I mean, man, WWE, this false advertising, you got competition now.
This is why it's a good thing, to have a little bit of competition. I know everyone's saying they're not real competition. They still got money. Okay, great, good story. Yes, they do, but still, they've already seen the changes that have started with having some competition. I'm hoping it's able to make improvements all across the business. You fans at home should too. Yeah. Like false advertising, for example, or people that should be winning matches that we all are paying our money to see win matches should be winning matches, and they actually go through with it because they have someone breathing down their neck that's doing it so far, knock on wood, the right way. So
we got a really big audience. Let's talk real quick about this past week, the past 7 days. What would you say was your favorite wrestling show the past 7 days?
Oh, I was hoping you were going to ask me this. I'm not trying to be a complete mark here, but I can't. Okay, AEW, the entire show.
What about you, Glenn?
I mean, AEW, for me, switching back and forth, I think killed my enjoyment of both NXT and AEW. I'm going to say SmackDown up until the ending. I thought SmackDown was fantastic.
I got to say AEW, just because of how different it was as well, and the having that competition in the space.
I did not move. A lot of times during these shows, because I have DVR and stuff, I will fast forward through the commercials and things of that nature. This is the first show I've actually sat there and watched through commercial breaks and wasn't going to miss anything. Do you know what I mean? With that, also having to watch the NXT on my in between here and there. Like that show had me glued, is what I'm saying. My attention span.
Yeah, when I watched it live, I was watching that with NXT, so it was just kind of, and then being online, social media, it was just going back and forth. And I rewatched AEW, and it was even better. It was even better, I thought, the second time.
I thought so too. Itself. Seriously, I thought so too.
Yeah. NXT, I tried watching it as well.
I watched it.
I don't know, man. The matches are good, but that setting, it's just nothing new. I don't know. I'm the Full Sail setting. It does nothing for me. It looks small scale.
Yeah, I could see them soon testing some road stuff, right?
Yeah, but you got to also fill those buildings if you're going to do it, right? Like you can say, like, we're going to take NXT on the road, but you also got to draw the crowds. So, anywho. All right. Well, I think that's about it.
Yeah, tomorrow night, Monday Night Raw. Me, Matt, Justin LeBar.
No, it'll be me tomorrow. Oh. Now we're back to our regular schedule. So Justin will be on Wednesdays. I'm on Mondays.
Man, I was looking forward to podcasting with Justin again.
Well, you got it coming on Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. Cool. He's BP Matt Morgan on Twitter. He's Raj Giri _303. Wrestling Inc. is the website. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. You can find me on Twitter where I live tweet along with WWE programming. And until next time, we will catch you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.